You don't get what you wish for. You get what you're willing to grow into. Let me ask you something, direct and honest. Are you growing or just going through the motions? Because there's a difference. A big one. Most people repeat the same year 10 times and call it a decade. They say, that's just the way I am. Well, I say that's just the way you've chosen to stay. You're not a tree. You can move. You can change. You can grow. But here's the secret. No one talks about. Growth isn't automatic. It's intentional. It doesn't come from age. It comes from effort. And it doesn't come from wishing. It comes from a formula, a way of thinking, a way of showing up, a way of building the future one decision at a time. This video isn't about inspiration. It's about transformation. It's about shifting from a fixed mindset that settles, complains, and plays it safe to a growth mindset that learns, adapts, stretches, and expands. If you're tired of the loop, if you're tired of the false starts and the quiet frustration, if you're ready to stop talking about change and become the change, then this is for you. Because the truth is simple. You can grow, you can evolve, you can become more. If you decide to, so lean in, take notes, challenge your thinking. Because over the next few minutes, we're going to walk through the growth mindset formula, step by step. And if you live it, not just hear it, it will change everything. Let's begin. The power of belief. You can grow if you decide to. Let's get something straight right now. You are not finished. You are not locked in. You are not permanently defined by your past, your pain, or your parents. But you might be imprisoned by your beliefs. If you're not careful, see, your beliefs are the thermostat of your life. They set the temperature. And no matter how much you work, hustle, or dream, you'll never rise above the level of your own self-belief for long. If your belief says 68 degrees, guess what? Even if life hands you a heat wave of opportunity, you'll subconsciously bring things back down to 68. Why? Because the mind will always find a way to match the belief. Even if that means shrinking the goal, sabotaging the effort, or quitting right before the breakthrough. Now here's the truth most people miss. Belief is not a personality trait. It's a choice. You don't wait to feel belief. You decide to believe. You don't wait to have confidence. You grow it, and if you're waiting for outside proof before you believe in yourself, you'll wait a long time. Because life doesn't give you belief first. It gives you a seed, and it says, plant this, grow this, then you'll see the fruit. Let me tell you something important. You can be more, you can do more, you can learn, adapt, improve, and expand. But not until you decide that growth is possible for you. Now I know, maybe you've tried before, and it didn't work. Maybe you've failed more than you care to admit. Maybe somebody laughed, doubted, or even left. But hear this, that's their belief, not yours. Their doubt doesn't have to be your destiny. The question is not, can I grow? The question is, will I choose to believe I can? Because once belief changes, everything else starts to shift. You'll start showing up differently. You'll stop quitting so easily. You'll take the risk. You'll make the call. You'll study, practice, and improve. Not because it's easy, but because you believe it's worth it. And what's worth it will never be wasted. Let me remind you of something simple. Every expert was once a beginner. Every master started as a mess. Every leader was once lost, but they believed they could become more, and they grew into it. So how do you build belief? Let me give you a few simple ideas. 1. Talk to yourself. Don't just listen. If your mind says you're not good enough, you talk back. I'm growing every day. I'm learning from every failure. I haven't peaked. I've just started. That's not arrogance. That's self-leadership. 2. Stack small wins. Start keeping promises to yourself. Wake up when you said you would. Finish what you started. Read the page. Do the push-up. Make the call. Each little victory builds internal evidence, and that evidence reinforces belief. 3. Review your progress, not your problems. Stop obsessing over what didn't work last week. Start paying attention to how far you've come since last year. Growth isn't about perfection, it's about progress. And belief feeds on progress. 4. Borrow belief until you own it. Surround yourself with people who see more in you than you see in yourself. Mentors, coaches, friends, people who live in possibility, not pity. Their words can become the mirror that shows you your potential, until you can see it for yourself. Let me leave you with this. Belief is not magic, but it feels like it. Because once it's in place, things begin to accelerate. You'll try harder, hold longer, and stretch farther. Not because you're special, but because you finally believe you can. So if you're waiting for the right time, this is it. If you're waiting for permission, you've got it. And if you're waiting for someone to believe in you, start with you. Because the moment you decide to believe you can grow, you've already started to. Embrace the challenge. That's where the growth is. If you're hoping that life's gonna get easier, I've got news for you. It's not, but that's not bad news. That's growth news. Because here's the deal. If everything were easy, you'd never stretch. You'd never reach. You'd never become. It's in the challenge that you grow. But most people run from the very thing that would make them stronger. They pray for comfort when they should be praying for courage. They ask for ease when what they need is endurance. They want the reward, but they hide from the resistance. Here's what you've got to understand. Growth lives on the other side of hard. If it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. If it doesn't stretch you, it won't strengthen you. And if it doesn't push you past your comfort zone, it won't push you into your potential. That's why I always say, welcome the challenge. That's where the good stuff is. Let me give you some truth that'll rearrange your perspective. The obstacle is not in the way. The obstacle is the way. Every challenge is an invitation to learn, to adjust, to rise. Every difficult moment is a test, not of your circumstances, but of your character. Now I know, challenges don't feel good. They're uncomfortable, unpredictable, and sometimes downright painful, but they're necessary. Because success is not found at the bottom of the hill, it's earned at the top, and no one gets to the top without climbing. So if you're facing something hard right now, a situation, a struggle, a season, let me challenge you. Don't curse the climb, become the climber. 1. Reframe the resistance. Don't ask why me, ask what's this trying to teach me. That question alone changes everything. Suddenly the problem becomes a professor, the pain becomes a process, and the hardship becomes a harvest. If you keep running from hard things, you'll keep running from growth. 2. Let difficulty develop you. When the challenge comes, don't shrink, strengthen, step into it, face it, because pressure builds diamonds, not dust. Let the weight build your muscle. Let the resistance build your resilience. Let the struggle sharpen your spirit. Growth doesn't come from avoiding pressure. It comes from being forged by it. 3. Stay in the game. Especially when it gets hard. Some people quit too early. They stop digging inches before the gold. They walk away from their potential because they misunderstood the pain. Remember this. It's supposed to be hard. That's why it works. Challenge is the filter. It separates the interested from the committed, the dreamers from the doers, the talkers from the builders. And if you push through, really push, the challenge becomes your proof. 4. Measure growth by what you're willing to face. You want to know how much you're growing. Don't just look at your wins. Look at what you're willing to wrestle with. Are you having tougher conversations? Are you staying consistent when it gets boring? Are you showing up when you don't feel like it? That's growth. Because growth is not always loud. Sometimes it's quiet and gritty and raw. Let me remind you, life doesn't get easier. You get stronger. And how do you get stronger? By facing what others flee from. By embracing what others avoid. By choosing the hard path. Not because it's hard, but because it builds you. So from this point forward, I want you to walk into your challenges with a new mindset. Not with fear, not with frustration, but with focus. Say to yourself, this challenge, it's not breaking me, it's building me. This pressure, it's not crushing me, it's crafting me. This mountain, it's not in my way, it's making the way. You don't become great by doing what's easy. You become great by doing what's necessary. So embrace the challenge, because that's where the growth is. Effort is the secret multiplier. Let me tell you something simple, but life-changing. Effort is the great multiplier. It's what turns average into excellent. It's what takes potential and turns it into performance. It's what separates those who could from those who did. Now I know that word, effort, doesn't sound sexy. It doesn't get headlines. It doesn't go viral. But don't be fooled by its simplicity. Effort is everything, because you can have the talent, you can have the tools, you can even have the right timing, but without effort, you'll waste it all. See, effort is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's the currency you pay to build your future. Let me say that again so it sinks in. Effort is the currency of growth. And if you're not willing to invest, don't expect a return. 1. Effort makes up the gap. Not the smartest, try harder. Not the most talented, practice longer. Not the fastest learner, stay later. Effort closes the distance. Effort is how the underdog wins. Effort is how the late bloomer catches up. Effort is how the overlooked becomes the overachiever. You don't need everything. You need effort and consistency. 2. Effort reveals character. Anybody can try when they feel good. Anybody can show up when the sun is shining and the wind is at their back. But the real test, what do you do when it's raining, when no one is clapping, and when the results haven't shown up yet? That's where effort becomes identity. When you choose to give your best, even when it's hard, inconvenient, or unnoticed, you're not just working, you're becoming someone worthy of the success you want. 3. Effort compounds. Effort works like interest in a bank account. Little deposits, made daily, multiply over time. Read 10 pages a day. Do 30 push-ups a night. Practice your skill for 20 minutes before bed. It doesn't feel like much at first, but give it a year and watch what happens. It's not what you do once in a while. It's what you do consistently that builds confidence and results. Because here's the law. Small effort, multiplied by time, creates massive impact. 4. Effort earns respect from yourself. Let's talk about self-respect. You don't earn it by being perfect. You earn it by showing up. You earn it by not quitting. You earn it by knowing deep down, I gave it everything I had today. That kind of self-respect can't be bought. It can't be faked. And no one can give it to you. You earn it through effort, day in, day out, even when nobody's watching. Let me remind you, you can't cheat the grind. It knows how much you've invested. And it won't reward you for what you wish you did. Effort doesn't guarantee success, but a lack of effort guarantees failure. So stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for it to feel easy. Start giving effort, especially when it's inconvenient, because that's where your power is. Say this to yourself daily. I'm not here to coast. I'm here to climb. I don't need perfect conditions. I need persistent effort. I may not be the most talented, but I can out-effort anyone. You don't have to be extraordinary to succeed. You just have to give extraordinary effort for an ordinary amount of time. So give the effort, earn the growth, and let effort be the engine that drives your transformation. Because in the end, it's not the dreamers who win, it's the doers. And the doers are powered by effort. Feedback is fuel, not failure. Now here's a lesson that separates the amateurs from the pros, the fragile from the focused, and the stuck from the growing. Feedback is not the enemy. Feedback is the fuel. But unfortunately, most people treat it like a threat. They flinch when they hear it. They get defensive, shut down, or take it personal. And because of that, they miss the gold. See, feedback is a mirror, and most people don't want to look in the mirror too long, because it might show them something uncomfortable, something they need to change, something that doesn't match the story they've been telling themselves. But I'll tell you this, growth requires reflection, and reflection is often guided by feedback. If you want to grow faster, go farther, and become better, you must stop seeing feedback as failure, and start seeing it as a gift. 1. Feedback reveals the blind spots. You can't fix what you don't see. And every one of us, I don't care how smart, talented, or experienced, has blind spots. You need someone to say, hey, your tone is off. Your habits are slipping. You missed the mark there. Now listen, that doesn't mean they're right about everything. But if 3 people tell you you're off key, it might be time to check the piano. Feedback helps you course correct before you crash. It helps you sharpen your edge before it dulls. It's not an attack, it's a tune-up. 2. Feedback builds strength, not shame. Weak people avoid feedback. Strong people invite it. Why? Because they understand. Feedback isn't about who you are. It's about who you're becoming. It's not a verdict on your value. It's a tool for your transformation. You've got to stop linking correction with rejection. You are not being rejected when someone points out a weakness. You're being respected enough to be told the truth. So if you want to grow, learn to listen without getting offended. 3. Feedback doesn't always come wrapped in kindness. Sometimes feedback comes from a coach, sometimes from a critic, sometimes from life itself, in the form of results, or the lack of them. You didn't get the job? That's feedback. Your business is losing customers? Feedback. Your relationships are tense? Feedback. It may not be pleasant. It may not be polite, but it's trying to tell you something. The smart thing to do? Don't dismiss the delivery. Extract the value. Even a bitter pill can carry a life-saving cure. 4. Use feedback to adjust, not to quit. Here's the danger. Some people hear feedback and throw in the towel. They take a single comment and let it rewrite their confidence. Don't do that. Use it to adjust, not retreat. Maybe you need to improve your timing. Maybe your message needs refinement. Maybe your plan needs tweaking. But don't confuse not perfect with not worth it. You can change the method without abandoning the mission. Let me challenge you with this. Who's allowed to speak into your life? If the answer is nobody, you're in trouble. If the answer is only those who agree with me, you're not growing. You're babysitting your ego. Make feedback a part of your lifestyle. Seek it. Welcome it. Review it. Say things like, what can I do better? Where am I not seeing clearly? What would you improve if you were me? Then listen, not to respond, but to grow. Let me close with this. Feedback is not failure. It's fertilizer. It may stink at first, but it's what helps you grow. The person who learns from feedback outpaces the person who hides from it. The one who adjusts becomes the one who advances. So the next time feedback comes knocking, don't shut the door. Open it. Use it. Apply it. Because the truth is, feedback doesn't break you. It builds you. Learn continuously. Stay a student of life. Now let me say something that could change the whole trajectory of your life. Never stop learning. I mean it. Not after college. Not after you get the job. Not after you've had a little success. Not even when you think you've arrived. The day you stop learning is the day you start declining. Because life doesn't reward what you used to know. It rewards those who keep growing. Let me put it this way. You don't get paid for the hour. You get paid for the value you bring to the hour. And the only way to increase your value is to increase your wisdom. And the only way to increase your wisdom is to remain a student of life, a student of people, a student of truth, principles, and possibility. Because if you stay teachable, you stay transformable. One, be more curious than proud. Most people plateau, not because they've reached their potential, but because they've stopped learning. They get too proud, too comfortable, too busy acting like they know it all, to actually learn anything new. Don't let that be you. Curiosity is the currency of growth. If you lose your curiosity, you'll lose your edge. And if you lose your edge, you'll lose your impact. Ask questions, read books, watch, listen, and observe. Because the person who keeps learning, keeps leading. 2, learn from everyone and everything. Don't just learn from success. Learn from failure. Don't just learn from the wise. Learn from the foolish. 2, don't just learn from the planned moments. Learn from everything. Life is always trying to teach you something. The question is, are you paying attention? Learn from the customer who walks away. Learn from the missed opportunity. Learn from the person who disagrees with you. Sometimes the lesson doesn't come with a textbook. Sometimes it comes wrapped in tension, struggle, or silence. But it's all learning, if you're willing to look for it. 3, build a daily growth plan. Learning can't be left to chance. You don't grow by accident. You grow by design. So ask yourself, what's your plan to grow today? Do you have a book by your bedside? A podcast on your walk? A mentor in your week? A journal for your thoughts? 5 pages a day. 15 minutes of reflection. 1 new idea implemented every week. That's the stuff that turns a year into a transformation. Growth doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be daily. 4, stay humble enough to keep learning. Here's the truth. Life will humble you. But wise people humble themselves by staying teachable. They know that yesterday's knowledge is already getting outdated. They know that success can breed blindness if you're not careful. So stay a student, no matter how much you've done, no matter how much you know, because the moment you say, I've got this all figured out, is the moment you stop growing and start falling. 5, apply what you learn. Don't just collect it. Learning is not just about accumulation, it's about application. Don't just gather quotes, live them. Don't just collect notes, implement them. Don't just admire wisdom, apply it. Information without transformation is wasted potential. You're not just here to be a walking encyclopedia. You're here to be a person of depth, of clarity, of change. Let me remind you, the more you learn, the more you can earn, not just in dollars, but in decisions, influence, and impact. So commit, right now, to becoming a lifetime learner. A person who's always hungry for better, deeper, wiser. Because when you keep learning, you keep rising, you keep sharpening, you keep becoming. And isn't that what it's all about? Don't aim to know it all. Aim to keep knowing more. So stay a student, stay teachable, stay curious, and never forget, the growing life is the glowing life. Rewire the self-talk. Speak growth into your mind. Let me ask you something important. What do you say to yourself when no one's listening? Not out loud. I mean the silent words, the ones that play on repeat in the back of your mind. Because here's the truth. Your life is being shaped by that voice. Every single day. You may think it's your background, your job, your environment, but in most cases, it's your self-talk that's running the show. The conversation you have with yourself will either elevate your life or sabotage your success. It's either building your belief or breaking it. It's either feeding your growth or freezing your potential. So the question is not, are you talking to yourself? The question is, what are you saying? Because that voice, that inner dialogue, becomes your internal script. And if the script is wrong, the story will never end well, no matter how hard you try. 1. Recognize the voice that's been running unchecked. Most people never stop to listen to what they're saying to themselves. And as a result, they become victims of an invisible enemy, their own inner critic. That voice says, I'm not ready. I always mess things up. That's just the way I am. I could never pull that off. And over time, those little lines become laws in your life. They become belief systems. They shape your decisions. They define your identity. But here's the wake-up call. You wrote that script, and you can rewrite it. 2. Speak like someone who's growing, not drowning. Start choosing words that build the future, not bury the past. When the old voice says, I can't, you say, I'm learning. When it says, I've never done that, you say, but I'm capable of doing it now. When it whispers, you're not good enough, you declare, I'm becoming stronger every day. You don't need to lie to yourself. You just need to speak the truth from a growth mindset. I'm not there yet, but I'm not where I used to be. I've failed before, but that doesn't mean I'll fail again. I'm willing to grow into the person this dream requires. That kind of language isn't wishful. It's powerful. 3. Use repetition, because the brain believes what it hears often. If you say something to yourself long enough, the mind begins to accept it as fact. That's how people end up locked in invisible cages. Not because of their reality, but because of their repeated inner narrative. So flip the script. Make new statements your daily mental nutrition. Say it before the fear comes. Say it during the doubt. Say it until it feels normal to believe in yourself. You're not just repeating phrases. You're reprogramming identity. 4. Write a new script that serves your future. Take a pen. Take 5 minutes. Write down the kind of person you're becoming. Not who you've been, who you're building. Statements like, I follow through on what I start. I handle challenges with calm and confidence. I'm a student of life. I get better every day. Now read those lines every single morning. Why? Because if you don't intentionally speak truth into your mind, the world will gladly offer you lies. You've got to be the one steering your ship, and the rudder is your self-talk. Let me remind you, you don't get the life you dream about. You get the life you speak, believe, and act into existence. That starts with your inner dialogue. If you wouldn't let someone else speak to you that way, don't allow it from yourself. Talk to yourself like someone worth believing in. Talk to yourself like a leader, not a loser. Talk to yourself like someone who's becoming. Because when you rewire your self-talk, you rewrite your story, you rebuild your identity, you regain your power, and that, my friend, is how you grow.